Hello, I'm Ian Brightwell. I work for Elrha's Humanitarian Innovation Fund, the HIF. This video provides an overview of the GBV Innovation webinar series that we ran this year, providing links to the videos of all 4 webinars. I'll take a moment or two to introduce the series, but if you want to go straight to the links, you should skip forwards and look for the QR codes for each webinar, or you can look in the comments for this video. As part of Elrha, our HIF is a globally recognized program leading on the development and testing of innovation in the humanitarian system. We work to improve outcomes for people affected by humanitarian crises by identifying, nurturing, and sharing more effective and scalable solutions. In solidarity with this year's 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, we are calling for greater investment in and adoption of innovations and research aimed at improving humanitarian responses to GBV. Our aim through this webinar series was to showcase the innovations that the HIF and other innovation funds have supported to bring these new ideas and emerging best practices to a wide audience of GBV practitioners, advisors, innovators, coordinators, and donors. We also wanted to increase awareness of the important role that innovation can play in GBV programming, share lessons learned, and shine a light on these new approaches. I will quickly recap the 4 webinars before sharing slides with the links to each one of them. First, we heard about tools for addressing gender bias within GBV response organizations, and we heard about a clinical intervention called ARCHES for addressing reproductive coercion in health settings. The focus of the second webinar was on monitoring and evaluation, with the presentation of a system for measuring GBV survivors' psychosocial well-being and their feeling of stigma, and a presentation on the new monitoring and evaluation framework that supports local actors to create tools to track adherence to the global GBV minimum standards. In our third webinar, we heard presentations on using cash as part of case management for GBV survivors, and on using storytelling and the sense-making research approach to understanding GBV-related experiences and the needs of people affected by crisis. Finally, we looked at 2 tech-driven approaches to improving service quality, pioneering the humanitarian use of virtual reality exposure therapy, and using digital documentation of forensic GBV evidence to improve both the quality of forensic evidence and the quality of survivor-centered, trauma-informed care using the Medicat program. To watch the video of the first webinar, follow the QR code on the screen or the short link to the video. In this first webinar, we heard about ARCHES, a clinical intervention for addressing reproductive coercion, which can be a component of intimate partner violence. And we heard about a 7-point analytical framework for identifying and addressing gender bias, and how organizational interventions can reduce the impact of gender bias. Here's the second webinar. Again, you can follow the QR code or the short link to the video. In this webinar, we heard about the GBV IMS Outcome Scales Toolkit, describing how to use a numerical scale to measure GBV survivors' psychosocial well-being and their feeling of stigma. And we heard about the development and publication of the new monitoring and evaluation framework for local GBV actors to create locally relevant indicators that track adherence to the global interagency minimum standards on GBV in emergencies programming. Here's the links to the third webinar in our series. The first presentation here is about the use of cash assistance as part of case management for GBV survivors. The second presentation relays the experience of using the sense-making approach to understanding GBV-related experiences and the needs of people on the move in the Venezuela mixed migration flows. Finally, here you can follow the links to hear about the humanitarian use of virtual reality exposure therapy in Iraq, and to hear about Medicat, a tool to improve both the quality of forensic evidence and of survivor-centered, trauma-informed care in the process of forensic documentation of GBV. That's all 4 webinars of our series. If you'd like to hear more about Elrha and to receive updates, including new funding opportunities and resources to improve how you engage with humanitarian research and innovation, I encourage you to sign up for our newsletters following the links here, or to get in touch with me if you have specific questions. I'll close out by thanking the Norwegian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, whose support for our work on GBV made this webinar series possible, together with the support of the UK Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office and the Netherlands Ministry of Foreign Affairs, who also provide funding for our Humanitarian Innovation Fund. And of course, a big thank you to the presenters for all the hard work that they put in, and to the many webinar participants who enriched the question and answer sessions each time. Thank you.